Good evening, everybody. How's it going out there? Happy Monday to you. It's Columbus Day, Indigenous Persons Day, October 8th. John Lennon's birthday. Happy birthday to the fallen Beatle. Would have been 78 years old.
Imagine that.
Yes, imagine that, man. It is October 8th, 2018. Welcome to another episode of Midnight's Edge After Dark. I'm, of course, your narrator supreme, Mr. Robb Robot Shlomo. And with me, as always, Mr. Tom Connors.
With a hell of a head cold, but I'm here, yes.
Yeah, some chicken soup. That'll take care of that, man. And with us, as always, the ever lovely, ebullient, and vivacious Mecha Random Game User 42.
Hello.
Bullient?
You're looking at what ebullient means.
Am I a bouillon cube now?
That's what I was saying.
I make soup better? I don't know.
Robin is big old words.
Yes, it means cheerful and full of energy.
Oh, that works.
So
okay.
Yes.
That works.
Yes.
It's a heck of a weekend though at the box office.
Oh boy, let me tell you, it's a roller coaster thrill ride. Okay, let's
might as well kick it right in. You didn't see Venom.
No, why would I?
Random didn't see Venom.
No.
Andre saw Venom.
I saw Venom. It was a roller coaster thrill ride that I was taken surprised by. So,
actually, no, he said it's not as bad as you think. He was surprised at how much they actually stuck to how do you put it?
Comic?
Not so much the comic, but the overall Venom story and avoiding Spider-Man. He said it was interesting. And he did bring up some of the stuff at the end, but he didn't want to talk too much until I actually saw it. So, I mean, of course, we're not going to cover any spoilers, but we are going to talk about the impact of the box office and what this has as far as the impact on Spidey going forward and stuff like that. But let's not bury the lead here. Of course, Rob, right?
Well, yeah. The guy who's bartender at the place I go to, he said it. He did not have very kind words to it. But as always, your mileage may vary.
Right. It's been getting mostly positive to its harmless reviews. Let's put it that way. From the fans. The critics, on the other hand, have been venomous towards it.
Groaner.
Yeah, it's been getting a critical beatdown. All right, this comes from this comes to us from Box Office Mojo. Brad Brevitt. It was a record weekend at the box office for Sony's release of Venom, which delivered a massive $80 million, topping the previous October opening weekend by more than $20 million. Additionally, Warner Brothers' A Star Is Born more than carried its own weight, with a stellar debut of its own, topping $40 million for its opening weekend and helping this to become the largest October weekend of all time. Okay, I got to stop right there a second. When you keep raising movie ticket prices, every October is going to be the largest October weekend of all time.
That's true, but October is not notoriously known for openings. But we got to stop real quick. Another thing, Terry Light, thank you so very much for the very, very generous $15 super chat. He or she says, "Happy Monday. Thank you all, you guys, for all you guys do." So I can't even read today.
Thank you for all you guys do.
I don't want to assume if it's a girl or a gal, but thank you, Terry.
If you could drop a hint about that.
They're saying girl or gal. I meant guy or gal.
Yeah, just so we're not as
high on fucking meds right now. Fuck it.
Oh, hi, and Mary Ashmead is our current one of our wrench wenches.
Our loyal wrench wench has been in the chat with us all the time. Yes,
how's it going? Yeah, holding everything down. So yeah. So okay. Anyway, let's continue on. With an estimated $80 million, Sony's release of Venom into 4,250 locations not only topped the weekend box office, but it topped the previous October opening weekend record of $55.7 million set by Gravity in 2013 by over $20 million. The debut ranks ahead of the $75.8 million opening for Ant-Man and the Wasp earlier this year. And just behind the $84.4 million opening for Solo, A Star Wars Story. Oh boy. You had to bring that up, didn't you? Both films went on to gross over $210 million domestically. But before we get that far, one thing that everyone will have their eye on is just how well it holds over next weekend. Critics' reviews for Venom were largely negative, while the film received a B+ cinema score from opening day audiences, a score that matches the grades for both Suicide Squad and Justice League, and is a notch behind the A- for Ant-Man and the Wasp. You're really bringing up the wrong movies here, Brad.
To a point, yes, but we'll get into all that.
Okay, of the three, Justice League's 56% second weekend drop is the best of the lot, while the three carry an average second week drop of 61%, which in the case is probably what we should expect, with anything better than perceived as something of a positive sign for Venom, as it doesn't have any superhero competition in theaters until the release of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Aquaman in December. One interesting note, while Venom's audience was particularly male-leaning at 59%, only 36% of the overall audience was age 25 or older. Comparatively, 46% of Ant-Man and the Wasp's audience was 25 plus, 46% of Suicide Squad, and 69% for Justice League. In fact, Venom had a younger overall audience than even Spider-Man Homecoming, which played to an audience of which was 49% of 25 years or older. Should we go to international box office? Internationally, it did 125.2 million in 56 markets. That was a record.
Wow.
Yeah, South Korea led the international box office. 15.7 million, which was right behind actually Spider-Man Homecoming, which made 19.1 million. And additional markets include Russia with 11.7 million, the UK, where it topped the opening weekend for Johnny English Strikes Again with an estimated 9.3 million, Mexico with 7.1, Australia 6.4 million, Germany is 5.2 million, Brazil 5.2. Upcoming markets include France next weekend, Japan in early November, and a release in China that is yet to be dated. Stars Born came in
so sexy.
Yeah, Stars Born came in at number 2 with 41.25 million in 3,686 locations. Okay, and yada yada. Nobody cares. Okay, let's get into the meat of this. Okay, yes, good. It's good, solid opening weekend. I think the bottom's going to drop out of this, though. I really do. And I'm not just saying, I'm not just saying it because I want Spider-Man to stay in the MCU. Once word of mouth gets out, because like I said, audiences are mixed. Some audiences like it. Critics hate it. I don't think it's going to be enough to sustain this overall long haul. What would be considered a long box office run these days? A month now?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Infinity War was probably the most extensive. That and Black Panther.
Oh yeah, those were in forever.
Kept going and going and going. Black Panther was still making money in the box office when it came out on video.
Yeah, I would expect somewhere about a 65% to 70% drop off by next week. What do you guys think?
Probably, especially with Halloween coming up.
Yeah. Is that all you had, Random?
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt her.
Oh,
I was
no,
just like, because I have a lot to say about this and I don't want to step on anybody. So
go ahead.
Well, there's so many things to look at this and so many different angles. First of all, as we've pointed out time and time again, Sony had no qualm audience that this was connected with the MCU and Spider-Man. Okay. Now, am I surprised that it made $80 million? Not really. Because Spider-Man Homecoming did $117 million in its opening weekend. It's affiliated with Spider-Man. Venom is arguably one of the most popular villains aside from the Joker and a few of the others. So, I mean, it was a given that this movie was going to do some kind of box office. Spider-Man 3 had the biggest opening and I think box office overall of all the Raimi films as well. And I think a lot of that had to do with Venom. Of course, again, you brought up the drop-off. That's going to be a big teller going forward, as if there's going to be a drop-off. But what this does now is show Sony that they don't need the MCU as far as they're going to think now. And once this may put a few dampers on any furthering along of the contract with MCU. This makes it pretty obvious that they're going to turn around and take Tom Holland and make a Spider-Man 3 over at Sony that's going to connect with their Spider-Man universe, which is now kicking off with Venom. And this will push forward Black Cat and whatever else they got going.
Silver Sable.
Silver Sable and all that shit, yeah. I haven't seen the movie.
Yeah. It's good. It's gonna. I get to make my glass ceiling, Tom. I get to make my movie glass ceiling. I've been dreaming about this day for so long.
Oh man, I don't want to speak to the movie. You and I, and of course anybody who's listened to the most recent video we dropped on the main channel the other day, knows the history that's behind this film, knows what kind of shenanigans are behind this film. And even so, it seemed to rise above that. Even in Andre's point of view, said, it was much better than he thought, less harmless than he thought it was going to be. And that seems to be kind of what most of the fans are saying anyway. Like we said, the critics are just out to get this movie. Like, this has probably got some of the worst ratings for a comic book movie since Batman and Robin. Some are saying it's like the worst movie since like the 90s and as far as comic book movies go. So I don't know. There's some people, even some in our chat, who have said it sucked, so I said it from the start. I don't like Batman shows or movies without Batman. I don't like Spider-Man movies or whatever without Spider-Man. I don't like Superman shows without Superman. I go to these things, or I read these things, or I consume these things, not for just one character. Usually it's for the entire kit and caboodle.
Here's a thought, though. I wonder how many of the critics are giving it a bad review because they assumed the audience would, because the early buzz was, oh, we don't want a PG-13 Venom, so they're giving it a bad review because they think that's what people want.
And despite those who are sticking up for the movie, or at least saying that it's not bad, a lot of them at least pointed out that the movie felt very cut. Like you could tell this was meant to be R, regardless of what bullshit they're spewing out there in the media about, it was never going to be R. And Spider-Man was never going to be in it. Sure. We know what you're up to.
Who said it? Somebody said that this feels just, I think it was Matt Jarbo that said, this feels like they just had the sets lying around since 2004. And they just
Gary said something like that on the other night.
Gary, okay, might have been Gary. Oh yeah, it was Gary. Sorry, Gary.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're figuring out from what mostly Andre did, and Tyler did a little bit of research on as far as the latest video. And that was that this is basically the same idea that's been floating around since the Sinister Six, and they just dusted it off and removed probably any connection with Spider-Man, really. And again, I haven't seen the movie. I do know there's some Easter eggs. I do know, not to spoil anything for anybody else, there are some things in the end credits that make people wonder what they're up to. And frankly, with this kind of box office, you can almost predict what Sony's going to do from here on out. And even if it takes a big dive next weekend, it doesn't matter. The fans have spoken. It's getting mostly positive reviews from the fans. They don't give a shit about the critics. This could have been Godzilla all over again for them, and it worked out. Once again, I was just going to say, once again, like the Emoji Movie, they lucked out big time.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Tom. We lucked out big time. Oh, yes. Hi, everybody. Tom Rothman here. Your worst nightmare is gonna come true. We're going to make more Spider-Man movies here at Sony. Yes, Tom, why are you Meshuggah? Why are you being so mean to us all the time on the Midnight's Edge? Don't you know we just want to make movies that people want to see?
Well, normally we have been pretty rough on you. We said this last year. You did a pretty good job. But I'll tell you what, Tom, it's this this idea of tricking everyone into thinking that this is an MCU movie. And that's the bottom line here. And that's why it made $80 million.
We really didn't trick anyone. We just never overtly said that there was no Spider-Man in it. It's just like you see Heinz 57. Are there really 57 kinds of pickles in the barrel? I mean, I know that's just a number. Like when people, like the kids, they say like a crab apple. There's no crab in it. It's just a Venom. It's just a name.
Well, I thought that was your nickname for Amy Pascal.
Oh yes. Oh, Amy's been talking. She said she was gonna keep that between ourselves. Oh no. I gotta get I have to go to the urologist now. It's very embarrassing, Tom. Don't you know? I have the male problems again.
Is it true that Tom Hardy based his version of his character upon you? That is Robb's version of Tom Rothman.
Oh yeah, he based it on. I told him he said he was going to base it on Woody. I said to him, Tom Hardy, you're a great guy. You're a fantastic actor. But you know something? You shouldn't take this too seriously. I'm thinking more Woody Allen in his like sleeper phase. That's how I pictured this character, Eddie Brock. He doesn't seem like a very manly man. He's like a little schlemiel, like me, you know. We need more schlemiels in Hollywood, you know. We need more. I need to see. I thought I told you we need to see more representation. Where is the schlemiel representation, Tom? Where? I want to know. And oh wait. Oh, Mafalda.
Well, as far as I can tell, it's there. But no, Andre actually said that he's not sure what was in the trailers, and I think Gary pointed this out too, that they actually seem to tone down the nebbishness in the movie itself.
Yes, it set schlemiel representation back at least another 50 years, you know. There hasn't been a tough Jew in Hollywood since Moses, as you know. So I said something on the anti-Semites, didn't I? Okay, I'm going back to work now, everybody. Have a good time.
Take care, Tom. Congratulations on your big weekend.
Oh, yes, yes. Amy, start the car. I'll be there in a minute, honey.
Don't piss her off. She'll throw a sandwich at you.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, we gave them credit, and it's true. Tom Rothman was the best thing to happen to Sony in years. We can't take that away from either one of them on that part. And this is a big win for them. This is a huge win for them. I don't know. Patrick Olinger does ask, do we think that supervillains will get their own solo movies? Solo superhero movies now? Well, we already got the Joker coming out. And we're going to see a lot more of them, that's for sure. And Hollywood likes to jump on bandwagons. You got to think about this movie's been in production or pre-production or development hell for so long. It fell on 2 or 3 trends in the process. So,
how long's Lobo been in the works?
God, forever.
Is Lobo really a villain though? I mean, Lobo just kind of
anti-hero.
He just kind of is. He's an anti-hero. But like I said, Suicide Squad. I mean, they're gonna make a Michael Morbius movie. And
well, that's one of the few that I've said that could actually work more on his own without Spider-Man. I mean, there's just Venom is so tight. I hate to see how they're going to retroactively work this all together because I can see it now. They're not going to renew their contract with Disney. Spider-Man 3 is going to be completely Sony produced. They're going to use that film to tie it in with Venom and whatever else they've produced in the meantime. The sequel to Homecoming's already shooting. They're already pretty much done with Avengers 2. That means all of Tom Holland's, 5 movies are pretty much up at Marvel. So I don't think it's going to continue.
Yeah. I said the worst part about Michael Morbius movie is now you deny him being in another Spider-Man movie, like in an MCU movie at least. But
what this means though is there is going to be a disconnect. Venom and all these guys are never going to technically exist within the MCU, but Sony is going to trick you into thinking they do.
Yes.
So yeah.
We're kind of in clickbait sort of territory with pretty much everything. All the news articles are clickbait. All of the movies are practically clickbait anymore. And that's kind of what it feels like with Venom. Like they just clickbaited a lot of people.
Sorry, did I say Avengers 2? I meant Infinity War Part 2. But yeah, it'd be Avengers 4. But yeah.
Do I hear Avengers 5?
It's the Marvel Universe movie 26. Avengers 5, Infinity War Part 3. I don't know. It's one of those. No.
Actually, Draven
War Part 2.
Draven
Annihilation, I think is what it's being called. So
Draven G actually brings up a good point. He can see Morbius working, but he doesn't know how Kraven the Hunter is going to work.
Exactly. It's like a lot of these characters, you almost need their superhero for them to work. Venom is...
Well, eventually they're gonna get to a bad guy. They're gonna get to something that is just gonna tank. And it's I'm not gonna say it's gonna make the universe.
I don't think these other Spideyverse movies are gonna do nearly as well.
No.
And I know they know that. And I just don't get this track of thought that they went into this with. Because if they were going to go PG-13 all this time, then wouldn't it have made sense to work with Marvel and got this within the Spideyverse in the first, or in the Marvel universe and not your own Spideyverse? You know, wouldn't it have made more sense? Because I'm sure that's 99% of the reason behind the R rating and everything like that was, and why Marvel said, no, we're not on board with that, was because they were going a different direction. The people that were involved with it, the shenanigans are trying to pull behind the scenes. And this doesn't speak anything to the movie itself per se, because whether or not it's R or PG-13 really shouldn't matter. But to me, this Venom situation is almost like Logan. It's like, if you're going to go for it, go for it. Otherwise, don't pussyfoot around. If it's going to be PG-13 and it's going to be, you know, still tied to Spider-Man eventually, why didn't you just work it out with Disney in the first place? Or at least Kevin Feige, I mean.
You know the old saying, like, shit or get off the pot? Yeah, I mean, you either go all in or you don't do it at all. I guarantee you there's going to be you know, the DVD unrated version, though. That's the thing. They'll do the unrated DVD and Blu-ray because it won't. They'll say unrated because unrated doesn't carry the same stigma as an R. And you can probably still sell it to kids in good conscience.
Well, not necessarily, but that's been planned. That's always a thing. That's been a thing for a while. And I hate that gimmick. I'm getting sick and tired of that. Just show me the movie you want to show me in the first place. Because most of the time then all it tells me that an unrated version is filler.
Double dip.
Yeah, not just a double dip so much as just, like you said, a sensationalized reason to sell more DVDs and Blu-rays, because there's very few unrated versions of a movie that I'll turn around and say, oh yeah, it added more to the movie or it was better. And most of the time that's within the horror genre. And that's because it doesn't feel like it's so, you know, butchered. But you get to these comedies, like I'm pissed that the unrated version of Dumb and Dumber is the only version you can get on Blu-ray. I hate that version of the movie. I prefer the PG-13 one. I'm sorry. The gross out scenes and shit that's added to the unrated version don't add anything to the movie. In fact, it hurts 2 or 3 of the better jokes. But anyhow, I'm going off on a rampage.
Well, one thing, I specifically bought the unrated version of The Dictator because I knew that like I said, I don't know.
That's a little different because it was made in this day and age where they're knowing that's what's going to happen.
Well, yeah, all these kind of new comedies, I just know, okay, I'll just skip that in the theater and I'll get the DVD or something because it's going to have the unrated version. It's going to have half of the jokes cut out. And
I didn't see if anybody saw the Dictator in theaters. I imagine the scene where he delivers the baby is different. Do you know? Are you familiar with that scene?
I didn't see the movie.
See it.
I'm trying to remember if I've seen The Dictator because I love Sacha Baron Cohen. I know I've seen the one he did before that. I don't know if I've had a chance to see The Dictator yet. Yeah, I've seen Bruno. I don't think I've had a chance to see The Dictator yet. I know I've seen scenes and shit from it.
I have actually, I have and somebody brought Watchmen, the director's cut. I actually have the director's cut. I've never watched it. So as the question is of who's watching the Watchmen, apparently not Rob. So I saw enough of that movie. I saw enough of that movie in the theater. So I was like, I was bored senseless by the time. I'm like, come on, just end it already. When I bought it,
let's be clear. There's also a difference between a director's cut and a unrated version too.
Yeah.
Director's cut, because people are bringing it up. And a director's cut is the director's preferred definitive version generally.
Yeah,
that's a little bit different. In most cases, in those, I will go with whatever the director wants me to. That's his choice. Not always, sometimes. But when it comes to most of these times, unless it specifically says it's a director's cut, then it's usually just some uncensored version of the PG-13 version or whatever version's out there. Or if it was R to begin with, then it's whatever scenes they cut to get an R from an NC-17, just to be clear. Sorry, Rob, go on.
That's fine. One thing we always bring up the director's cut of Wrath of Khan. and that actually is not that different than the.
It is, but it isn't. There's plenty of shit in there that I know Nicholas Myers is glad is back in.
Yeah.
And one important part being that the one crewman that gets killed is actually Scotty's nephew, and that's why Scotty's so broken up. That's not in the original version. There's a lot of stuff like that he wishes was in the back, and that's why we finally got it. That was the only thing we got from the 50th anniversary, pretty much. Anyway.
He stayed at this post when the train needed to run. So, Scotty, Mr. Scott.
We got some Star Trek news coming up, but I don't know, unless there's anything else to say about this Venom situation, we really have to see what happens next week with it. And I think Mecha brought up a good point. I think Halloween is really going to eat up a lot of its box office.
Yes. And I lost a guitar pick here somewhere.
I say Rob just did something over there.
I just banged my knee on the table. So
yeah, even Read by Nature says pretty much this has been the common thing coming back. Saw Venom earlier. It's not bad if you can get past dumb story and weak villain. Everybody says it's good, but there's always a but. And it's like I really wish that the general audience knew what they were getting into with this, and this was not connected with the Marvel Universe and Spidey and all that kind of stuff, in a sense that I don't think the box office would have been nearly as good. What needs to be pointed out, though, is that this beat the hell out of the Amazing Spider-Man's box office, which I think was only in like the 70s. Or 60s or high 60s. It was 67, I think it made. And a few of the other movies you mentioned, they're not really good comparisons to, because Venom is a much bigger character than Ant-Man. And what was some of the other ones you brought up?
Ant-Man and the Wasp. There was oh god, I closed that story.
Well, this would be more comparable to something like maybe Suicide Squad.
Oh yeah, Suicide Squad. There was Justice League was the other one.
Justice League, Justice League is I wish they quit bringing Justice League up. It's not fair to Justice League. I'm not trying to stick up for the movie, but it was a fucking clusterfuck.
Okay, well,
well, to me, as like a casual moviegoer, though, it seems like they were trying to have Justice League be as big as the Avengers.
Yeah,
and with something like Venom, or even you brought up the Amazing Spider-Man, for somebody like me who's kind of a casual superhero movie watcher, I definitely thought the Amazing Spider-Man came out way too soon after the Sam Raimi movies came out. So that's part of why I skipped those entirely. And they didn't look that good. I'm like, I just saw this like a couple of years ago.
Right. And I think that confused a lot of people too, because I've talked to a lot of people in my personal life who still thought those were connected with the Sam Raimi movies.
Oh, yeah.
And there's people who still thought this Spider-Man was still connected to the Andrew Garfield movies.
Yeah.
So there's still that era of like confusion out there, and Sony's definitely taking advantage of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, anyway, I think we've said as much as we can. Somebody in the chat actually wants us to get to Doctor Who. So.
Yeah, we're getting there. Here we go. Random. This is your
Doctor Who. Well, I don't have any articles.
I haven't seen it. Rob hasn't seen it.
Oh, you're doing the theme song. There is no theme song in the new Doctor Who. There is no theme song. No TARDIS. No theme song.
What?
Yep.
That was half the reason I watched that as a kid. I'm out.
No shit. Me too. What? And I was kind of disappointed. Apparently, they had it at the very end credits, but you know how they are with the end credits. They always chop them up and they have like an ad for the next thing over top of them, so you don't even hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are they? I thought for sure that Jodie Whittaker is the Doctor. I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar was going to be the theme song.
No, well, and to my surprise, they didn't really go full SJW. They just kind of set her up as, she's kind of quirky. She's trying to find her own sort of feel of oh, what's my personality? How am I going to react to this? She's quirky. She's a little funny. She kind of is very David Tennant-esque, and I was not super disappointed by her performance. I quite liked her a lot. The actual episode was just really blah and meh. It's just kind of the same old Doctor Who again.
Let me ask Tyler Bioshock. Leave Helen Reddy out of this. Okay. Love is all around would have been better. Love is all around. No need to waste it. You're gonna make it after all. Yeah. So she's walking out of the TARDIS, throwing her hat up in the air. You're gonna make it after all. Okay.
I think Doctor Who has so much of a stigma because they're trying to like make it this, a lot of people are like, oh my god, this is the first woman doctor, hooray, and then other people are like, we don't want a woman doctor, no SJW shit. So there's kind of the fine line there, and at the end of the day, it was kind of a meh, boring, mediocre episode. It doesn't make me hate it. It's not short bus Discovery, that's for sure. And it's
Ashmead said wearing a Mork outfit.
Yeah, that's
she was wearing a Mork outfit.
Well, let's face it, this was obviously all about timing.
Yeah.
Problem.
Well, one of the things I noticed, she was on with Stephen Colbert last week, and I gotta say, Jodie Whittaker is a perfectly charming lady. She really is. Yeah, she's delightful. She's witty. She's she's very attractive. I'm a man. I notice these things. And like I said, she has a wonderful personality. So they picked actually someone very good to represent the series on, to go on these shows and to talk about it.
Oh yeah, I like her a lot. Like if the biggest problem I'm having right now is the media spin. And I actually tore apart an article that they really tried to misquote her by saying, I don't care, heroes aren't white men always, And I actually was really pissed at that article until I got to reading it. I'm like, oh no, she's actually not saying this. She's saying, this is kind of beyond the days of people thinking that heroes are just white men. This is, it doesn't matter what gender you are. Nobody's prepared for the role of a Time Lord because none of us are aliens and none of us have had two hearts and none of us are 1,000 years old. So she actually did not go, in her own quote, in her own words, she did not go the SJW route. And the media keeps trying to spin this like it's the SJW Doctor Who. And it's really pissing me off to no end that the media keeps trying to spin this when it's not. It's just another incarnation of Doctor Who, a show that kind of, in my opinion, keeps changing canon for years and years and years, and it always has. And it's so frustrating when they're trying to spin this agenda and that's not in the show. And I the second it goes full SJW, I'm going to call it out. I'm going to call bullshit on it. But no, so far, all I'm seeing is the media kind of blowing it out of proportion. They've got kind of a mediocre script, but what are you going to do with your first episode for a new Doctor? You're trying to set up all these characters. You're trying to set up the companions, how the personality is, how the interactions with people are. And yeah, I mean, it was kind of a mediocre episode. It's not terrible. I gave it about a 6.5, 7 out of 10. Yeah, I'll watch the next one.
Go, it's not that bad, huh?
No, it's not too bad. I mean, it didn't piss me off. They didn't go, oh, I'm the Doctor, I'm a woman. I mean, there wasn't even like a clothing change montage so much. They just showed her throwing a bunch of no outfits out into the her new companions, her new assistants.
The tardigrade is female bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think she had like one little line was, well, I guess I'm a woman now, got to get used to that again, and oh, my legs aren't as long as they used to be, and that's it. And that's all you need to do with the Doctor. It's an alien.
You could have fun with it, definitely.
Yeah.
That's the problem is taking the fun out of it because of the timing and the world we live in now, as opposed to if they did it 10 years ago. Rob.
Cormoran, actually.
Thank you.
Cormoran. Anyway, $2 Australian. Polygon claimed the TARDIS is racist to black people.
Oh my god!
The TARDIS is racist to phone booths. Let me tell you, why does it have to be a blue phone booth? Why can't it be red like all the other phone booths?
Because it's for police purposes only.
Yeah, Coron, thank you for the super chat. One thing is said about actually, you know what? Matt Smith, when David Tennant regenerated and became Matt Smith. Actually, he actually has that moment of disorientation, and he's like, "I'm a girl." No, wait, I'm not a girl. So,
yeah, and
it's Ginger.
It's your typical regeneration sort of story, but
it's technically a police box, like Nymphomorpho says.
Yeah.
St. John's, yeah. I got one of those, the toy, the TARDIS actually around here somewhere. So yes, I do like Doctor Who, but I kind of fell out of it.
Yeah, that's how I was
halfway through the Capaldi.
I just want Bill and Ted to show up and be like, "Oh, sorry, wrong movie or show and like take off.
Yes, Sebastian Simon said yes. I love David Tennant's Doctor.
Me too. I absolutely love David Tennant, and she's kind of reminded me of him a little bit so far. Is if they can hold up the writing, if they get some really stellar storylines, I think she'll be really good. It's just they have to kind of stop with the SJW marketing and pandering crap, and just put a good show. You know, don't put the media spin on it. Don't play the fans against each other. Keep watching my channel for when I call out these bullshit articles that try and misquote people, because I'm sick of this. I'm really sick of this stuff in the media right now. But yeah, it was all right. It wasn't terrible.
Give us a breakdown of the episode.
So basically, there's like a giant tentacle spaghetti monster sort of thing that lands.
Harvey?
Yeah, no, it's not Harvey. It's a spaghetti monster. It looks like a bunch of ball of snakes. Yeah, it kind of crashes into a train.
I got my check from Doctor Who. What's going on?
It's all right, Harvey. They replaced you anyway.
Yeah, so she ends up kind of following it into the train. She finds half of our new companions are in there. The other half are investigating like a giant space turd looking cocoon sort of Hershey Kiss thing, and basically these are two aliens that end up it's kind of like a Predator Terminator sort of thing, where you've got one guy who kind of looks like Master Chief that comes out of this giant space turd, and he's using the tentacle spaghetti monster thing to kind of tag or to kind of help him cheat to kind of hunt down people. And it's kind of one of those storylines. It was, the bad guys, the monsters, the aliens, whatever, they're kind of mediocre in my opinion. The guy goes around collecting teeth and sticking them to his face once he takes off the Halo Master Chief helmet. Yeah, I don't know. The story kind of lost me for the most part, but I mean, I was more paying attention to how she's going to be portrayed, how she's going to be marketed. Is it going to be an SJW shit show? And it wasn't terrible, but.
Yes. Eric, just thank you for the 50 Danish kroner super chat. Question: anyone listening to the Big Finish Doctor Who, and if so, which one of their doctors are your favorites? My favorites are the 6th and 7th Doctor. Thank you, Eric, for the 50 Danish kroner super chat. My favorite is the 4th Doctor, and David Tennant's the 10th Doctor, is he?
My favorite Doctor is Dementia.
Dr. Demento. Oh man, Dr.
I
Demento.
love a big black 78. He loves a
Dr.
big
Demento,
black
yep.
78.
I don't know. I'm trying to remember.
The Big Finish are the radio shows, right? I haven't heard any of the radio shows.
See, here's the thing. Full disclosure, I've not really been into Doctor Who since I was a kid, and even then I'd seen various episodes on PBS. So whoever was the 80s,
probably Sylvester McCoy is who you remember.
Probably.
And Colin Baker they had in the 80s a lot. Because when I was a kid, Sylvester McCoy and Colin Baker were kind of current.
When I was really young, even like the early 80s, like in the late 70s, they used to run Doctor Who on Sunday afternoons.
Mm-hmm. And even Rob reminded me that they
PBS.
did an American version on Fox. See, I think I remember watching that movie.
That was a TV movie.
Yeah, it was like a backdoor pilot. I probably remember more from that than anything. But Wild Panther, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Says, thing that frustrates me is how they act like never had a female Time Lords before. Tom Baker's era had one. Plus the Masters did it too, but no Arc.
No, the Master changed into Missy, but we did have Romana back in the whole Tom Baker era. And yeah, we did have that. So that's kind of why I'm like, we've had female doctors, or we have female Time Lords anyway, not specifically the Doctor, but we've had female Time Lords. So it didn't seem without possibility. I'm pretty sure they've had other people regenerate into women. I know a lot of the comments I've gotten is it's been just in the Moffat era where the men regenerate into women or vice versa. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those shows where they keep kind of rebooting canon just to kind of keep it going. I treat it more like a soap opera or like Dark Shadows than I do like Star Trek, and because of how much we have and how long it's been going continuously. Yeah,
like I said, Sunday afternoon actually was Doctor Who and Dark Shadows. Dark Shadows used to be on Sunday afternoon as well.
Nice.
Yeah. One thing.
See, in my recollection, I only seen X amount of episodes, like I said, and it was always at my grandma's. And I seem to remember when the Next Generation started, it must have been on the same time as that, because then my uncle would only watch Next Gen after that. I only remember Next Generation after that.
Now
so anyway,
you're the bigger Doctor Who expert. I mean, are there any lost episodes in the Tom Baker era? I mean, because you always, I was been reading about occasionally like a stash of like 10 or 11 episodes will appear from a found like in a warehouse in Algeria or something.
just the black.
No, I think there are some.
Tapes. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, that was it. And you obviously know the answer.
No, I think there were. I mean, I don't want to give off the impression that I'm a huge expert on Doctor Who. I kind of am a casual Doctor Who fan at best, but I enjoy quite a bit. No, I'm pretty sure there are some lost episodes here and there that they never aired. I would guess probably more in the early days that didn't get kinescoped, but I'm not sure.
Down Forward Punch of thank you for the $5 super chat. Trying to sound like Doomcock when I read that. Did you hear that the SJWs are now proclaiming the TARDIS as sexist? Really? How pathetic are these blue hairs? Well,
the TARDIS is a woman, though. Last I saw.
Actually, yeah. Remember, it's
an object.
Remember, it projected.
Well, it is animated, but it's an object.
No, it projected. What was it, Clara?
Okay, whatever. It's just about as much of a female as fucking. What's her name in fucking Iron Man?
But no, but it projected it projected an image of Clara just as an interface so that she could interact with it in one episode. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really tuned out of the Clara episodes because Clara was just such a bitch. She was like, seriously, she was like just know-it-all, telling the doctor what's what. Oh, you can't think that. I know more than you because I'm this, 23-year-old woman and you're a 1,000-year-old man. You don't know anything. No, I did not like a lot of the writing for the Moffat era, and that's where like Clara really was like kind of my last straw. I was already losing interest with the Matt Smith stuff, and that was no fault of any of the acting. It's just a lot of the writing was just so taxing. Yeah. So now I'm kind of at the point with Doctor Who where I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot because I used to really enjoy like the Tom Baker stuff. He was my favorite, and even Peter Davison and a lot of the old stuff. And then of course coming back with David Tennant is when I came back to it. Yeah, and really loved David Tennant.
Few people like Clara, but not much love for Clara in the chat.
Yeah. There was actually this past weekend I saw I saw an episode with Tom Baker, and actually they had part of the video was missing, but they'd animated it because maybe the tape was damaged, but they still had the audio intact.
Yeah, well, so that's the thing is I know there was a bunch of the archive that was destroyed accidentally.
Yeah,
like some intern or something like that and somebody out there in the chats will know better than me, accidentally erased a buttload of the original old episodes from late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. So there's a whole bunch of them that fans have been trying to culminate over the years that people have been lucky enough to have video recorders that early, or television stations that might have gotten, rebroadcasts of them or whatever, to where they have tapes still, and they're piecing them together as best they can. Like, and you said some instances, Rob, where somebody would record the audio at home. Like that was stuff that we used to do when we were kids before we had VCRs.
Yep.
Audio, you could.
Yeah, and like I said,
the audio. So
I read about like maybe like 7 or 8 episodes that turned up in Nigeria of all places. They were just sitting in an office somewhere.
Right, because I'm sure once they started doing like the syndicated thing and sending them off, and sometimes they would bounce them off when satellites came in. They would bounce them off satellites, and you'd record your own version on your end. So there's places where they're digging up certain ones of these. I mean, when they did repeats and other things like that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Wild Panther. Yes, there are missing ones. BBC would just tape over the same tape, so to speak. They didn't realize how huge it would be. Love you all. That happened a lot here too.
Oh yeah,
that happened all the time here. I mean,
the honeymooners. How many of those are gone?
Yeah. Johnny Carson's first 10 years are just wiped out, lost to history. Because they didn't save anything back then.
Oh no, it's the same thing with Hollywood. I mean, aside from things that were lost due to fires, because film is just such a fragile thing, and they weren't backed up properly. And it wasn't until the last few years to where, they just started archiving movies digitally, and they did that all wrong for years, and now they have to go back and redo it again. So,
Yeah, like I said, now everything just like I said, it's a digital file, and you can store that pretty much anywhere. So that's I mean that makes things a lot. Yeah, read by nature. I think they found a lost episode in South Africa a year or two back. Yeah, every once in a while you hear about something coming back. A funny story. They do not have the NFL for years did not have the tape of the first Super Bowl for years.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because like I said, they just never saved it.
My dad has it on DVD now because I bought him that because it's like the Packers were in the first two or whatever. It's got like the first two Super Bowls and
that's on DVD now.
Yeah, I think so. It's been for a while.
Oh wow, how about that?
Oh, look at the holiday special. The version that's floating out there is just some guy in Ohio recorded it on a VCR.
Mm-hmm.
That's lost to time, except for that.
You can't suppress that, George Lucas.
I'm gonna burn all these, and nobody's ever gonna see this mess again. Ever.
Every May, I think. Oh God, I think it was May. I think May 6th. I think it was. Channel 2 in New York would play Mickey Mantle's 500th home run because that was 1967. And like I said, the only reason why they had the tape is because the engineer that day before he went home, he cut out that section and put it in his locker.
Well, yeah,
yeah. I mean, but there are so many stories of that. Down forward punch. Thank you for the 5.
Whip.
I don't get it.
That's from the holiday special.
Oh, geez, it's been a while.
Yeah. That's like what, $10 now from you, down forward punch? Thank you very much.
So much. Patrick Ollinger asked me what decade would I like to travel to. I'd like to travel to the 60s just so I could see the Beatles together because I don't remember them being all together. I remember the solo years, but I don't remember the Beatles being together. And to me, that's
hit up Monterey Pop and hit up Woodstock while you're at it.
Mm-hmm. Yes, get in some of that free love.
Woodstock, Monterey Pop, though. Yeah.
Oh, Monterey Pop for sure.
Actually,
people were there who would say that they'd probably be at Monterey Pop again.
Actually, one of those other stories about stuff not getting saved. You guys, if anybody in the chat is familiar with this story, the Dumont Network was like one of the first television networks ever in America.
Oh yes, I think I've seen stuff about this. Yeah.
Yeah. They cleared out one day. They cleared out the entire archive, the videotape archive, and just dumped it into the East River. And it's just like all this historic programming, just like I said, it's at the bottom of the East River. I wonder if anyone ever tried to salvage any of it. I wonder if it's still down there. It might have got swept out to sea though.
Hard to say.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
but no. Speaking of
in the same places, those ET Atari cartridges.
They were. We were just talking about Woodstock. Random, you should know more about this. About how a lot of the performances were lost.
Woodstock.
Covered a few of them.
They do have. They've been putting it together for. I think instead of like these soundboard recordings, they do have out there floating around. The just people with like tape recorders. They have tape recordings of it.
Right.
I think at some point they did have the entire soundboard recording that they just couldn't release. So that like the torrents and the stuff on YouTube that you can just go listen to, they do have fan put together sort of compilations of, hey, I have this Sweetwater song that nobody heard, or I have this Lost Quill song, or
makes you wonder what the next big find in somebody's warehouse or garage or storage shed is going to be. Oh, this shit was my grandpa's, and I didn't know I had the Lost Spider sequence from King Kong. That's another famous one.
Yeah. It's the same thing you hear about. A lost Botticelli painting turns up. Like that was the story actually when I went to Europe. Lost Botticelli painting or whatever. It turned up in a barber shop in Florence. I'm like, you never know where these things are going to turn up. Somebody has
finding Action Comics number 1 and 5 in his wall of a house he bought and remodeled.
Yeah, exactly.
Wife ripped the back cover of.
No. Yeah. Someone, Big Gator says, how do we get in this conversation on Lost TV? What the hell? I'm like I said, we were discussing Lost Doctor Who episode. Yeah.
Because I think Random said what has to be said about the show itself. It's mostly harmless. So
yeah.
Yeah. Random, did you ever see the TV movie An Adventure in a Space-Time Adventure, An Adventure in Space-Time, or what I think it was?
No.
About the first Doctor? No.
Yeah, actually I did see that. I just didn't remember the name of it.
Yes, that is actually really good.
Yeah.
I love that was actually really, really good. Yeah, very, and it gets me a little verklempt at the end with Matt Smith. He just gives William Hartnell that look. He gives him that look. Thank you, just for because there wouldn't be anything without him. Yeah, an adventure in space and time. Yeah, I think in America it was called an adventure in space time.
I don't remember the name of it.
I think that was the title on BBC America, an adventure in space time. So, but anyway, Big Gator 5. I guess the unoffensive 13th Doctor is boring to talk about. Yeah, well, it's been what, one episode?
Yeah, right. She's only had one episode. I mean, a whole hour of screen time, if that.
And like you brought up Mecha, the media has been seeming to make a bigger deal out of it than anything.
Absolutely.
And I think that if it would have been a situation where there was a ton of stuff in the episode that you were talking about that made a big deal out of it being a woman, maybe people would have had a bigger problem with it. But it's like most of the people don't seem to be that hung up on that. And that's what the media doesn't seem to get. It's the same thing with everything else. As long as you make it good, we don't care if it's a she-boot or not.
Yeah.
But if you're going to make a she-boot, make it worthwhile. You do something like Ghostbusters and shove it down everybody's throat and call them misogynistic pigs for not liking it or thinking it's going to be a bad idea because the trailer looks shit and the movie was shit. That's when we have a problem with it's carried over today with so many other things we still talk about. But yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of the catalyst for everything, in my opinion, was that Ghostbusters reboot.
Yeah. Gotta smash the patriarchy.
It was a she-boot. I've coined that. I don't know if anybody else has, but I have. She-boot.
What did someone say about Holtzman? Because everyone's Holtzman. There's tons of Holtzman's fans out there. Someone said about the character Holtzman from Ghostbusters. It's like if someone showed you a picture of Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future and say, okay, how do you think this character behaves? And that's how what did she base her character on?
And she wasn't even that good. She was just, weird expressions. And I couldn't stand her because she didn't know the difference between DeBarge and Devo. Seriously, that's what pissed me off about her. She was okay until then.
Who is Johnny?
No, not short
circuit. When the problem comes along, you must whip it. Two entirely different things.
Number 5 is alive.
Oh, he was so cute. Did anyone else cry when he got beaten? Oh my god.
It's been a long time, so.
No, disassemble Johnny 5.
Disassemble.
Okay.
No.
no, disassemble Johnny 5.
I love the second one too. Yeah, it was really upsetting when they beat
Johnny Mambo number 5.
You will not get away. I am really pissed off.
I am standing here beside myself.
I love Ben. I'm sorry.
I didn't mind Ben. I didn't even care that they replaced
Ben. He's great.
Now, you know how much I love Steve Guttenberg. He's a national treasure.
Yeah.
And I didn't even mind because they at least replaced him in the second Short Circuit with Michael McKean. It's like, at least you got somebody good.
Yeah, I mean, not the same character, of course.
No.
I haven't seen it, but the same kind of guy. Yeah, but the second movie, that's what I love about the second movie is it wasn't just a retread of the first movie. And the second Short Circuit is one of those few sequels in the '80s period that does not get enough credit because it didn't do nearly as well as the first movie. But I mean, the first movie was a big hit on video. That was it. It wasn't such a huge hit in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think Short Circuit 2 is up there with like Gremlins 2. There was a lot of really good sequels in the 80s, and this is kind of where we are now. There's not a whole lot of really good sequels.
Well, yeah, because the second movie, not only was it not just a retread, but they allowed not just Ben, but Johnny to grow too as a character. You had two characters from the first film who were continuing on their journey, and in this, they were in parallel, and I loved how they did that because you had Ben who was trying to become an American, and Johnny 5 was just trying to be recognized as a being, period, instead of just a piece of equipment. But we're getting too waxing intellectual about Short Circuit. We're pretty late.
What you at a round table or something?
Right? No shit. But we do have some Star Trek news, at least. I know you were throwing some at me random. There's a few stories out there. I don't know if anybody has those handy. But...
Trekking across
yeah,
the universe.
There's not a whole lot to them. A lot of them are pretty much the same article with just, one extra line.
Kind of a roundup. There was one about Picard. There was one about the Klingons, I think, and something else. I don't know. Some about the cage, wasn't it?
And the cage. Well, the cage one is the longest one. That was the one that pissed me off.
The cage. I heard your rant about the cage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can start that one off. So this is from WeGotThisCovered.com. The Star Trek Discovery showrunner teases more classic characters in Season 2. They're saying Star Trek Discovery Season 2 looks to be embracing the history of the franchise in some major ways. The most notable is that Ethan Peck is joining the cast as a young and bearded lumberjack Spock, who looks like a soy boy millennial freaking Apple store working. Anyway.
He's mock. Yeah, we dubbed him. He's mock Spock. He's Smock.
I just call him Spock the Cuck.
I call him, no, he's Smock. Mock Spock. Mock Spock. Smock. It's going to be a thing.
Somebody said he's going to turn out to be Cybok.
Maybe. But yeah, so during the Discovery panel at this weekend's Comic-Con, one fan asked Kurtzman if any other classic characters would appear in Season 2. Fucking Alex Kurtzman. The showrunner was surprisingly forthcoming, replying with a one-word answer, yes. He didn't just leave it at that, either, going on to ask the fan whether or not they liked the Telosians. Trek fans who know their stuff will recall the big-headed alien species that first appeared in the original series pilot, The Cage. In many ways, Discovery to Season 2 will act as a prequel to that episode. Okay, there's my problem with that. Discovery takes place 3 years, 2 to 3 years after The Cage, after the events of The Cage. You can't have a prequel 2 years later. What in the hell? Know your shit, Alex Kurtzman. Google it. Go on Memory Alpha. Go on anything. You can't have a prequel.
Don't you know, Random? These are fictional characters. You can do whatever you want with them. Why?
You want to piss off your audience?
You have the televisions on Discovery. Why? Okay.
I know. Yeah, if you want to piss off half your audience, go right ahead. But man, you can't have a prequel 2 years after the fact. You're already doing a prequel. You're going to do a prequel to a prequel?
That's a requel.
She-boots and requels. I give up.
I've
said requel quite a few
Short
times.
Bus Trek. I mean, we are in Short Bus Trek.
Sebastian Simonson says, "What the fuck is the Cage?" The Cage. Go ahead and explain it, Rob. You know the Star Trek episode.
The Cage is the original 1965 black and white pilot that was made. That Gene Roddenberry had made, that was commissioned by NBC to sell the series, that starred Jeffrey Hunter and actually Leonard Nimoy and Majel Barrett. There was a color version color print discovered in the mid to late 80s, and actually much of the footage was used to actually hold on, Michael Keller. I'm getting to that. Much of the footage was used in the 2-part Star Trek episode, The Menagerie. Now, actually, Leonard Nimoy actually says that the original print was in black and white because he said, and you can find interviews on YouTube, that Spock was originally conceived to have red skin, but because of the black and white, and would be shown on black and white televisions, his skin was going to look black, so they couldn't make him with red skin. So that's why they had to make that change. Mikey, hold on, Ron. Holding on to what? Mickey Spork, soy Spock's beard.
Yeah, but not only that though. Didn't they never air The Cage until like the 80s when the VHS came out?
You're correct. They actually they didn't air The Cage. There was actually a special. There was actually an hour. There was a special hosted by Gene Roddenberry with The Cage. It was finally aired in like 1986, 87.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're trying to make The Cage canon now, like actual canon. Which it kind of already was, but it was like that gray period, right? That kind of gray area of, well, it's canon, but not really. It's like they're going by this name drop, Big Bang Theory.
They have that big fight about it.
Yeah. But they're going by this like name drop Big Bang Theory references instead of substance sort of thing again. You know, they want to name drop the cage. They want to name drop Talos 4. They want to do all this shit without actually doing the research. You're not allowed to go to Talos 4. You're not allowed to have any communication. You know, which general order was it? I said it in my video, but I'm like, I get angry and I can't remember, but yeah, it's general order whatever to say no, you can't have any communication. You're in violation of Starfleet general order. Tell me in chat, guys. You guys know the exact number. I think it was 7. To not have any contact with Talos 4. General order number 4. Thank you.
General order actually. General
4.
Order
General order 7. Okay, they are saying 7. Yeah, you're not allowed to have any contact with that. We're going against Starfleet, so we're gonna go back and visit this. But it's gonna be a prequel, but just 2 years after the fact. Oh my god, it's so it breaks my brain. It makes me forget facts and words and.
Well, Wooly Woodward, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Hi guys, can't chat, but I'm listening to you.
Hey, Willie.
Listen to you hard phrasing. He said hard.
Yeah. What's that mean?
But don't you know, Random? This is a fictional universe. The fictional characters, you can do whatever you want with them. Don't you know? You can do whatever you shouldn't have to be held to any kind of. You could do whatever you want because they're fictional.
But you still have to have the suspension of disbelief. You have to be able to follow your own rules in your own universe. And once you start, once you start breaking that, then you're gonna piss off half your fan base, and then you have people that aren't smart enough for Star Trek to be there yelling at you for correcting them. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I mean,
I get mad.
There's one thing that they forgot, and that is in the Star Trek universe, there's something that still exists that we have today, and that's called a calendar.
Yep. Exactly.
That's a very good point.
Exactly.
Stardate.
What are they gonna do? Use those fucking spores to go back in time to be a prequel to the cage?
You said something about fucking.
Oh, you know what? Remember when they said, "Oh, we've jumped 9 months into the future." That is what they were setting up. That's what they were fucking setting up. Those idiots. We're 9 months into the future. We've lost the war. Okay, shut up. You lost the war. Prepare
in other words, time travel is coming in, right?
Yes, exactly. Again. Yeah, well, time travel. Prepare to okay, guys. The war's over. Prepare to take 2 Klingon dicks up the ass. So.
Or it'll be a flashback, or
end up in an alternate universe. In the end, it doesn't matter because it's all gonna suck.
Yeah. Can I just say something? Can I just say something though? I mean, this trailer for. I need a swig of water because my throat's starting to get a little dry.
That's all right. I got a whatever you call it, analogy or whatever for this whole Star Trek thing. You know, when you're going off the road and side of the road and you go and do this thing where you go too far the other way and it's called overcorrecting. Yeah, that's what's going to happen in season 2. They're going to Justice League season 2 all the fuck up. Yeah. It's going to feel like we're watching a completely different show. It's going to feel like it's the Orville, and I haven't even seen the short bus Trek thing yet.
Just terrible.
And Gary's already said he has a feeling I'm kind of right from neurotic. He said that they're going to turn around and they're going to try and lighten up season 2 all a bunch. Look at the fucking trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Somebody found the light bulbs.
They're absolutely doing that.
But the problem. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the problem I had. One of the many problems I had with season for trailer 2. The season for trailer 2. Where did I transposed those terms? But anyway, I digress. The trailer for season 2. Besides Soy Spock or Smock or Mock or whatever his name is this week. Besides Mikey Spock being on the bridge, besides everything. We see Empress Fictitious Callistius, Empress Shamalama Ding Dong Georgiou again. She's apparently now working for Section 31.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't a homicidal maniac have better things to do than work for Starfleet? Seriously.
Exactly. She was the fucking Empress. You don't need this low-level, stupid, menial job. You're witty enough to survive on your own and be the Empress of the Terran Empire.
Yes.
and you're working for these middleman paper pusher secret service-y, secret organization, part of Starfleet, that you could just take over and conquer, you know, if you were worth your stones as a fucking villain, but you're not.
Yes, yes, Anush and Kush Narula. Yes, ruining Section 31 with a cartoon villain. And the other thing is, you know, you've already done this plot line twice. You've done this plot. This is the same fucking plot line from Into Darkness again.
Yeah.
Again. Now, this is the third time you're doing this. You're running. Oh, for God's sake.
Comrade Bernifred Putin's axe wielder says, I can't believe it, but Memory Alpha shows Mikey Spock as Spock's sister. What the fuck, guys? I tell you, I know that's what they're going to do. They consider her his sister because she has part of his dad's fucking Katra or whatever. Yeah, and she's going to need to use that to save his life or change him back to normal or whatever. It's going to be a big fucking mess. I can see it already.
Read by nature. Am I a bad person for going into John Campion's chat just pre-show and mentioning how much better the Orville is to STD?
No, you're a good person.
You can't do shit.
You are doing the Lord's work.
You're trying to save people.
Yes.
You're trying to save people from an STD.
Yes, I'll put your hands upon the screen and say with me, hallelujah, demons be gone.
Hallelujah. Be gone.
Take some penicillin, it'll clear it right up.
But the whole thing I said, I don't know who said it to me, but I had said at the end of season 2 of STD, when they just let freaking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Who Gives a Fuck walk away, and just like not like you're letting her go. What is wrong with you people? Oh well, you know, you're showing compassion, but no, you're letting a homicidal maniac run free.
They did to Harry Mudd as well, and he actually murdered people, and he didn't know which one was going to be the final time loop, and he was actually there murdering people again and again for fun. He still ended up trying to sell the Discovery to the Klingorks. That's treason, and they let him go to his wife. Oh,
who he hated! He hated her. Watch Mudd. He hates her.
Yep.
He just
Cormoran. Thank you so much for the $2 Australian donation. Says prediction: Mikey will teach Soybach how to shave. Yeah. Well, I keep saying they're going to end up merging the two together, and that's why we don't hear about Mikey Spock, because Mikey Spock is Spock. That's what they're going to put.
And they're going to place her with this Ethan Peck guy.
That Harv guy, for fuck's sake, what's with Kurtzman retreading Into Darkness again? It is his version of Thunderball, the one story idea remade over and over and over. Yeah, this is the only idea he has because he's a fucking hack. Right? You know what? Okay. What other? Let's take a look at other. I'm going to take a look at some other movies Alex Kurtzman has made.
Well, while you do that, he wrote the Short Bus Trek where he also let Tilly be a complete useless bitch and let she committed treason on the Short Bus Trek. She just helped a fugitive escape, beamed her into God knows where. The writing made no sense, and yeah, he's an absolute hack writer.
It's the exact same thing. Okay, Alex Kurtzman, Hawaii. He wrote Hawaii Five-0, The Mummy, Short Bus Trek, Sleepy Hollow, Exit Strategy, Star Trek Into Darkness, Star Trek the video game writer, Fringe, People Like Us. I've never seen that. He wrote the screenplay for Cowboys and Aliens, Star Trek Mission Impossible 3, Legend of Zorro, screenplay 2005, The Island, screenplay 2005, Secret Service, Alias, Jack of all trades. Okay, Xena Warrior Princess, Hercules, Legendary Journeys.
So he probably wrote all the shitty episodes of Xena that I hated too.
Okay. But I mean, anything about somebody turning bad, any of these about somebody turning bad, a bad guy trying to help the good guys?
I can't remember. I can't remember which episodes he wrote on Xena. I'd have to look.
Because it seems to be a running theme with everything he does. He just keeps reusing the same plot points.
Well, he probably has the copy and paste script. I mean, all these Star Trek episodes are pretty much the Mad Libs of Star Trek. You know, just random thing here and there.
Give me a noun. Give me a verb. Okay, now and that. Yeah.
Stropa's Trek. She's like, oh, my planet is my twin. We were born at the same time. I made this dilithium chamber this chamber to re-incubate and regrow dilithium crystals. And yeah, it's all just copy and paste shit. It's Mad Libs. None of the stuff makes any sense.
Red matter.
Davis brings up a good point. I think Cowboys and Aliens did get hit with a plagiarism suit. Had something to do with the comic book and all that kind of crap too.
Yeah. Alex Kurtzman loves his magic blood. Yeah. Everything, like you said, is just. I'm at a loss. I really.
But Bad Robot has nothing to do with STD, right, Rob?
Oh no, it doesn't. Let me tell you, Alex Kurtzman just did all this all by himself. Let me tell you. Oh, he just got. I mean,
well, he is such a yes man. They would probably just take the blame for it because
from what I saw with this.
Well, yeah, what I saw with the Tom Cruise The Mummy movie, like he just kind of let Tom Cruise just steamroll over everything that he wanted to do, and he's like, I want to have this plane scene where we're flying around and I get spun around in the plane and I survive the plane crash. And Alex Kurtzman's like, yep, whatever you say, you're the boss.
Yep.
He has no balls. He has no stones. Kurtzman. Okay, because this is one of the things that everybody keeps coming on about. Oh, you were so wrong about Bad Robot being invested in STD. Go use the Wayback Machine. If you look in the right places, Bad Robot is clearly listed as one of the production companies. Then all of a sudden, they get scrubbed from that. And this other company pops up in its place. What is it? Hidden Hideout or Secret Hideout Productions? Whatever.
Secret Hideout.
This is Alex Kurtzman's production company. Alex Kurtzman is also a part of Bad Robot. A big part of Bad Robot, to the point where it's more than blatantly obvious that Bad Robot has been behind the scenes in this thing since day one. And because the way that the fucking thing is broke down with the whole rights, right now, there is a no-compete clause on the television side of Star Trek. That is why CBS has to go through vicariously all this bullshit back around to use a copyright that they technically own the IP for because of this convoluted contract with Bad Robot. And that's what people are not understanding on as far as like when they're defending this garbage, is that there's this whole 25%, difference thing in place because of this Bad Robot deal. This Bad Robot deal is obviously affecting everything else in its wake. They would not put Alex Kurtzman in front of this if that wasn't the case. All right. There's a reason he's there. You know what I mean? And the only person who had the balls to say that this is not connected to the Prime universe or even the Kelvin universe was the guy they fired and changed all his shit.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be
Brian Fuller.
Yeah. Well, I've seen people say all that 25% just refers to the original Enterprise design, not to the whole series.
Well, technically, yes, it does refer that anything that they touch that has anything to do with anything original series % different. So in all theory, this Picard series coming out has to technically be 25% different in some way, as far as our understanding, unless that does not affect anything after the original series. I have to check into that. There might be a few people I know that are in the chats that are kind of close to this who might be able to answer that. But anyway, point being, this is a big convoluted fucking mess when it comes to copyrights and bullshit and who owns what and who can do what and what they can and cannot do. Because even Shatner has pointed out and added legitimacy to this shit by saying that they have to go through Paramount. Why the fuck would CBS have to go through Paramount that has anything to do with Kirk unless it had to do with this fucking Bad Robot deal? That's the only thing that makes. And on any other circumstances, CBS should not have to say shit to Paramount about anything that has to do with the original series.
It's their show. It's on CBS All Access. Why do you have to go through Paramount? Unless Paramount...
Because of the Bad Robot deal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Otherwise they'd use the original timeline.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's all convoluted, and people aren't seeing that. We did another video about that recently to add to the stuff we've done before. It's out there, people. We found this stuff. It's not like it's you got to dig for it in some areas.
Well, people only read the headlines. That's the problem. People see the headlines, they see, the buzz that the media is putting on it, and they don't actually dig through the articles. And that pisses me off to no end. And they don't actually bother to pay attention when people do the research.
Dr. Meatball. So because Picard is bisexual, that would be 25% different. Ooh,
What your ass I am. I'm trisexual. I'll try anything once.
Oh, he's got a photon torpedo.
Or twice or 3 times.
Locked and loaded and gonna send it my way.
Make it so.
Why won't you read? Yes, Techaman Blood. Yes, why won't you read? Oh,
because most people don't. They just want to believe whatever they want to believe, and I always get into the arguments with people. Oh, it is canon though, but who cares if it's canon? That's beside the point. The biggest problem is that it's dividing the fan base. Whether it's canon or not is kind of beside the point. I mean, you can go and do the research all you want, and you can believe what you're going to do and not believe what you're going to believe. And the biggest problem with Star Trek Discovery is that it's killing the fandom. There's Trek channels that are dying because of the infighting between Trek fans. It's attracting a new fan base that has never been a part of the Trek community. It is getting dumbed down so much, and we're getting so much bullying and harassment from all the new fans. And some of the old fans too. I'm not going to say it's just the new fans. I'm not just going to say it's the younger fans. I'm not just going to say it's just the dumber fans. But there's bullying going on so much between people who want it to stay the same. And this is kind of the biggest problem by having all this shady crap going on behind the scenes. The Bad Robot stuff, the Alex Kurtzman crap. I could rant about this forever, but sorry.
That's all right.
That's what we're here for.
I know.
Oh, but yeah, there was more to this stuff. There was something about Picard, was there not?
Yeah, it's pretty much the exact same rehash of the writer's room photo with just the new production. The production on the new series is going to begin in April 19th.
So when does the erotic cakes get here?
I don't know. I would watch that. I would watch Picard baking sexy cakes all day.
You don't find that erotic? Oh. I don't know what kind of baker you think this is, but we sell erotic cakes.
Careful, NBC Universal will come after us.
Yeah. But yeah, this whole article right here from I think it's comic book /Star Trek. comicbook.com/Star Trek is basically the exact same article I've read 20 times over, but it just has one extra paragraph that Star Trek producers Alex Kurtzman and Heather Caven have confirmed to Trek Movie that they're expected to begin production on the new Picard series in April 2019. And they don't say when it's going to premiere.
According to Doomed, in the chat, they said Picard is an ongoing multiple seasons, which if that's true, if I haven't heard that anywhere, if that's true, that's a change of plans, because before it was meant to just be a limited series. So is that in that article there, or? No,
it just says that they're starting in 2019. I think.
And don't forget, they still have an animated series too to announce.
Yes, and that one could either be Reliant or something else completely, so we'll see.
I don't know where to go.
Wasn't there a third part of the story here to this?
Well, there's another one. This is more Discovery related. Okay. So the Discovery news is that Discovery is adding another star from AMC's Walking Dead with to season 2. At New York Comic Con, Sonequa Martin Green announced that her husband Kendrick Green will appear in Star Trek Discovery season 2.
It's Mr. Mikey Spock.
Mr. Mikey Spock.
So she can't stand on her own as an actress. She needs to have her husband come in and defend her. That was my first thought.
Random, don't you know I love my husband and I want to see him here. Because in the morning when I open my eyes and I get out of bed and I walk to the window, I look outside and the light is different. I think of my husband because he's my guiding light. Don't you know that?
Well, she says, my husband, my amazing husband, Kendrick, the love of my life, is going to be on the show.
You have to read it like her. My amazing husband, Kendrick, the love of my life, is going to be on the show. You have to read it like her.
Yes. I can't say in what capacity yet. But that's very, very exciting, and I'm incredibly grateful. Yeah. Oh god. Yeah. So we don't know what he's going to be, who he's going to play, but yeah, apparently he's going to be on the show somewhere. I couldn't tell you who he played on Walking Dead. I can't remember her on Walking Dead, and I watched her on Walking Dead. But yeah, that's pretty much the whole entire article. Is that yep, we don't know who, and a lot of words, to kind of just say he's coming to the Walking Dead or to from Walking Dead over to this.
So Mr. Mikey Spock is coming to what now?
STD.
I do not. That's just a rumor. That's been a rumor going around since the 60s. I was a
I heard. Is it true that you got an STD from Council Troy?
That's a rumor.
It is a rumor. Oh,
but penicillin is a lot more easier to get a hold of where I come from.
Oh, okay. Where's that?
Outer space.
There's mold growing on asteroids. Yeah, you're mold farming on asteroids.
You just tell the thing to do the thing, and she pushes it, and bam. It's scientific technology, my friend.
Okay. It's just you have just like the food replicator. You have the penicillin replicator.
Sure.
Sure. So Sir Patrick Stewart, how excited are you for your new series?
I get paid.
Yes, you weren't getting paid before.
For what?
I'm not. Well, for residuals for all your work on Star Trek.
Oh hell yes, but I want to buy a car and a yacht.
Like you want to, so you really, so you have you have the same hairstyle as him, so you really want to live the Elmer J. Fudd experience, have a mansion and a yacht.
Fucking rabbits.
You're gonna be fucking rabbits?
Rabbits fuck a lot, but no, I'm not going to be chasing rabbits and shooting them, and I'm going to retire.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, the captain's yacht.
Yes, the captain's yacht.
Yeah, is it just me, or does it really seem like Patrick Stewart just wants like a new car or a summer home or something?
Yes.
There's no reason for him to be coming back to this other than money. I mean,
it's a retirement package.
Money.
I don't want a new Picard show if it's going to be all these and your average people who don't really watch Discovery and didn't even know it existed. Now they're hearing, oh, we've got Star Trek: The Next Generation coming back. Picard's back. It's not going to be Star Trek: The Next Generation. You guys don't get it. You don't understand what goes on behind the scenes on these. We're going to have Alex Kurtzman as Gilmore Girl idiot writers writing all this crap that is beyond comprehension. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't lead from point A to point B. These things are crapped out like they're written via text message between 7th graders. And seriously, like the fans don't understand. They're all like, I'm so excited. I want Patrick Stewart back. No, you don't. You really don't. Just let Picard go on in your memory as this, as how he went out or how it ended in Nemesis and Next Generation. Just have those as your memories of Picard. We don't want to be bringing him back. We don't want him Luke Skywalker, for crying out loud. And that's what I'm afraid is going to happen.
You're not wrong. And to bring back Nemesis and other things like that, some people are all like, well, it's going to be okay because we have Patrick Stewart. He's involved in it and blah, 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 blah. This is also Patrick Stewart who wanted to turn Picard into an action hero in the movies. Don't forget.
Yeah, and that works so well.
As much as I love Patrick Stewart, he's still an actor, and he's going to do what, as an actor, actors do. And sometimes that is make stupid decisions about their characters, and that's why you need a good writer and director to say, no, shut the fuck up and do what we tell you, because that doesn't make sense. It happens, not all actors. That's why they're not writers and directors. It's because they don't think about these things sometimes. Yeah, it'd be fun for them. But what Patrick Stewart's thinking, I'm going to get in that dune buggy and fuck around and have some fun. It doesn't care if it makes any sense or not.
I get to see Counselor Troy's boobies one more time. So there's one thing I like is a good pair of space boobies.
But she's not coming back, though. She's already said she's...
Ruined my fun. Why don't you?
Well, and to take back what I just said to what Random was saying before, look at Kurtzman. He'll bow down to his talent, especially when you're a Tom Cruise or probably as Patrick Stewart, to where he's not somebody who's going to say, yeah, I don't think that's going to work if it's a dumb idea.
Yeah, and that's so sad. That is so very, very sad because for all we know, Patrick Stewart might want to do something really crazy with it. You know, he might want to bring in Sexy Cakes Picard. You know,
You don't find that erotic?
Counselor Troy in my office in 5 minutes, and bring a friend, if you know what I mean.
So what else we got to talk about? We ran that into the ground.
I think that's about it. I think that brings us to the final portion of our show, where we get to talk to you fine folks out there in the chat. Yeah, we've been paying a little bit of attention, but now we're really going to pay attention to what you're saying. So now's the time to ask us anything you want to ask us. Get us to talk about any nonsensical thing you want us to talk about.
Yes, like Counselor Troy's boobies. I've always liked Counselor Troy's boobies.
well, there's that movie.
Oh, there's a movie.
There's that movie where she was naked, if I recall.
Do I have to pay $19.99 a month for it?
I can't remember. There's screenshots out there. Just Google it.
Oh yes. Oh, that fellow, Mr. Skin. He has all kinds of screenshots. I'm a big fan of his. Troy boobies.
You're Googling it.
Yes, I'm Googling it.
There was some movie where she was like getting ritually killed or something.
Well, while Rob's doing that,
how do you spell Troy boobies?
oh, boy.
Google. Oh, a brief history. The first search results in a brief history of sexism against Deanna Troy by the Geek Twins.
Okay. So Michael Miller has been sending me
those guys.
This. I'll have to check that out. Hang on. Stretch Random. It's all on you now.
Well, now I'm looking up Marina Sirtis naked, and there are results. I will tell you that. You're making me stretch. I think everybody else is stretched in the chat or in the.
Okay.
I set you guys down on the wrong path.
Oh my word!
You found it.
She is as a J Bud.
I love it in chat. Boobies.
Number one, I'm gonna need about 2 or 3 in my quarters alone. Take over.
If this were my chat, I would tell you guys press F for boobs.
Oh my word! Oh, she has
So
a
pay
nice.
respect.
She has a nice set of knockers on her. In my day, we used to call them knockers. Then there was fun bags. Then we called them happy pillows. Yes, that's
F.
Oh my word! Yes, this stream is getting demonetized.
Would I show some? You're not allowed to on YouTube. Unless it's an art channel. There are nudist art channels that I've seen on YouTube.
Oh my word! Where can I find one of those?
Google.
You don't.
Maybe press B for boobs. No.
Next episode: erotic cakes of Marina Sirtis going to the bathroom.
That's a whole other video. Yes, for art.
My. It's for art. Yes, the man who she was in the movie with was named Art. Art. Yes, it's for art. Art link letter. Yes.
Populi Suprema says Patrick Stewart will just play his character from American Dad and use Picard on Orville. Just watch and see. That'd be fine. I'd be fine with that.
Smith, get in here. I discovered a new use for the internet. Yes. Counselor Troy boobies. I wonder if there's other famous boobies out there.
Dr. Meatball, Picard has a pee fetish. 25% different. Well, yes. How did we know he didn't already? We just weren't allowed to see it.
Why do you think I went to go see Beverly Crusher all those times? She had all the equipment. She was, yes. I was making her give me prostate exams, if you know what I mean.
Patrick Stewart is Gigolo in Space, Nate Box 64 says.
Picard is 1/2 Bajoran, 25% different. Yes. Oh, I like Bajoran boobies too. Yes. You know, Bajorans have a third boob.
Oh, that was Bajorans. That was God.
Oh. But they have those ridges on their nose. They can do all kinds of interesting things with that, if you know what I mean. Yes, ribbed that for my pleasure.
Balls. Is there any good questions we got here yet? After Dark, has there been any news updates on the Dark Crystal show? Nothing other than, as far as I know, it's still happening on Netflix. I haven't heard any new updates other than that.
Commercial Delusions have very remote mind control of everyone. Oh, yes, we're going to remake the Menagerie, and it's going to be
called the Menagerie Trois.
Oh yes,
That's too easy.
Yes, if you know what I mean.
Because Jean-Luc is French, you know.
Gig, as the man would say, giggity.
Well, there is a place in France.
Well,
yes.
Oh my! I can see all the boobies I want then.
This is the After Dark show.
Yes.
Populi Suprema wants to know thoughts on Black Mirror Perry episode. I still haven't caught up with Black Mirror. Have you guys yet?
I haven't seen it.
I haven't had a chance to yet. I've been so swamped with other things.
Read by Nature lawsuit still happening? You mean the Anis Abdin?
Yes, as far as I know, yes. And I actually checked into him. There are some things he told me I can't share, but yeah, it's still ongoing. So it's going to be a process. This is something we've said for a while, but
the things
let me know if there's any changes. So
just don't tell me I'm a big blabbermouth.
The things he can share is his favorite ice cream is Rocky Road. It's his favorite Smurf
too.
His favorite Smurf is Hefty Smurf.
Well, that's
okay. Okay, I'm gonna put this question to the. Speaking of the Smurfs, I'm gonna put this question to everybody in the chat. There were 99 Smurfs, one Smurfette, and a baby Smurf. Who nailed Smurfette?
Well, there was a few baby Smurfs, I think.
There were?
Yeah, a few seasons in, they added a bunch of new Smurfs.
Yeah, they had like a lot of little kid Smurfs, but they never actually
another girl or two
it.
too. Yeah, I think Smurfs yes, they did. They had a whole big special. Smurfs are only come out on a blue moon.
Oh, okay.
They're like they just birthed by Earth.
I thought
it's black magic and voodoo.
I thought the Hefty was getting it
blue
done.
Magic.
Blue magic. It is blue magic.
And Kush Narula, Papa Smurf, of course. Yeah, she had an old man fetish.
Well, I thought that Smurfette was
truth be told, everybody was nailing Vanity.
Yeah. Well, his
Vanity,
brainy would tell him
Vanity?
Vanity
Smurf. Oh.
Brainy Smurf would just lecture him.
The DCV Titan, nobody did. Smurfette was ruin my fun.
Yeah, I thought Smurfette was made by Gargamel.
Wasn't she like a time bomb, really?
Initially, yes. I think she was initially supposed to be
in that movie or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
that TV show they never really. She's just the only one that's a girl.
God,
and then, like I said, later on down the road, it got so commented on so much that's why they added a couple more younger characters to it that were different. And
CD Horde says, check out the naked Ezri Dax stuff. Oh, Ezri Dax boobies. Oh my word. What's it? Nicole DeBoer. Okay, now I had to go see it. I'm like,
it was Tripod. I was trying to stay out of those jokes, guys. Come on now.
Oh my word.
There, but yeah.
Okay, you know what? I always say these actresses who say they have a problem with, they're taking stills from my movie. They're making money off of my my naked body. I'm like, you're putting it out there.
True.
I hate to sound sexist. You're putting it out there, okay?
You got paid for it.
Yeah, if I thought I could make money off of my naked body, like anybody would pay to see that,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. Okay, so they do the nude scenes in the movies, and then they complain if people are taking the stills and the screenshots or whatever. It's still not their money, though, because they already got paid and they have their contract for whatever that they use. And most of the time, they don't have like royalties, right? Or depending on the actor or actress, how famous they are, they'll get the royalties for the DVD sales and the Blu-ray sales. So it's up to the copyright owner, and this is where you guys come in. It would be up to the copyright owner to go after all these sites that they take the pictures from, right?
Yes. Whoever
There's
owns
also
the
a
rights
fair
to the
use
film.
argument though too, which is what we go under a lot here, especially when it comes to stills, because it's one thing that we're supposed to be able to use an allowable amount. I think is like 4 to 8 seconds or something like that. I think it's supposed to be more than that, but when it comes to the copyright bots, under most circumstances, if you don't use more than 4 to 8 seconds of footage from a movie, and as long as it's not from the trailer, because there's a tip off for anybody out there who's YouTubing. I was told by somebody over at Warner Brothers that that's one of the things that tips off the bots is if it's footage from the trailer. So be wary. But yeah, under fair use, we're supposed to be allowed that, but they don't generally. So we try to get away with stills, and under very few circumstances have even stills been.
What's it? Warner Brothers.
But
Warner Brothers are a bunch of pricks.
Warner Brothers isn't so bad. The big ones are MGM and Paramount, and Universal's not real fun. Fox has been a pain in the ass. They all pretty much are, except for Sony and Disney. Believe it or not, those two. Warner Brothers is
no boobies. Damn you.
Warner Brothers kind of in the middle.
Well,
Lionsgate's a big bunch of dicks too.
Well, Warner Brothers rat us out because we made fun of Thundercats Roar, right?
Probably, who knows? But Natenbach says MGM is a mini major. But yeah, that's the thing is they've even copyrighted stills on us, and Paramount has done that before too. Paramount's a bunch of assholes.
Well, I've heard that they're going after the people doing negative reactions and negative reviews of the new She-Ra trailer for DreamWorks and Netflix.
Well, if you go by what you were reporting on earlier with the response from what's-her-face who did the voice of the original, I can't believe I'm blanking her name now. It's
Melinda Brent?
Yeah, I was going to say Brit something, yeah. She is saying that they are kind of trying to stifle the negative reactions, so it could be true.
Too late, guys. The genie's out of the bottle.
But yeah, like Ann Kushner, really, the MGM, Paramount, Lionsgate are really dickish about even stills. I've even heard that Paramount going after people that have been in our chats and frequent our channel for doing their own personal 3D models and shit and videos of ships and getting copy strikes, even though they made them themselves. It wasn't.
Well, they're getting claims. I don't think they're getting strikes. I think
claims. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That just means they're stealing the money.
Yes,
for it.
We need to be clarifying on that. Mm-hmm. But there's also times where there have been stuff struck down. We tried posting the Seth MacFarlane Star Trek fan film, and that got an actual strike on us.
Oh, I think Angry Joe ended up doing a review of the Orville, and he only used the trailer footage behind him, and he got a strike for that.
Oh yeah, they go after weird shit sometimes.
Yeah, and that was a positive review too. So it just depends on what the bots are, how sensitive the bots are, how many views you have, who flags it, how lucky you get, how much you obscure it.
Yeah, that's all I've got to say about that.
Yeah.
Except for Marina Sirtis boobies. Yes.
I don't know. I'd rather look at Jerry Ryan. She has more.
Oh, she's got nicer boobies.
Wider lens, wider angle.
Jesus.
Fill the screen a little better.
Yes.
This is how Skynet starts. Yep.
Okay, I don't know what else to.
We're gonna start wrapping up here pretty soon.
Yes. Oh my God! Oh, the thermostat's becoming sentient. That's how Maximum Overdrive started.
Honey, this machine just called me an asshole.
T'Pol boobies are the best. Dr. Meeple says, "Yeah, we do call her Sub Commander Hottie." Quite a bit.
Natenbox wants to know if there's any more Dread TV series news lately. Nothing much more than what Andre has reported on. So, That's pretty much it. Check out his latest videos on the main channel about that. And no real thoughts on The Expanse. I don't think Populi Suprema, because I don't think any one of us have had a chance to really watch it yet.
No, I haven't seen it.
Let's see. Trying to answer some of your guys' questions here.
Are there any questions about boobies?
No. Fucking pricks. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of Smurf talk.
Smurf porn. I'd like to see some.
Here's one I have an answer for.
Porn.
Strange Loner asks, after the success of the It remake, how long before we get more Stephen King movies? I'd call it more of a readaptation, but in some ways, I guess, I don't know. There's a bunch of them in the works now. Stephen King's a hot commodity again, for sure. So is horror, for that matter. We're getting rumors of a Hellraiser reboot, a Scream reboot. Yeah.
Make a new character. Make your new stuff. We need a new golden age of horror. We'll talk about that more in the horror show, though.
Well, MMSGS Big Boss, that's what I'm doing right now, is trying to get to the questions. So we're trying. Any news on the next Batman movie? Nothing new that we know of already that hasn't been reported. Just on again, off again with Affleck, basically. Any chances on getting a decent Conan reboot? I think Amazon turned down the series. Andre recently did a video about that.
And Kush sent me the Beavis and Butthead when they were on Star Trek Next Generation.
That's a good one.
Fire the retro rockets, launch the Fruton torpedoes, and make us go that way. I order you to undress and show me your thingies.
Please.
Oh my god, that's so great. Oh, that's so funny. So damn fun. That's so damn fun.
Now I want to watch Beavis and Butthead again. Thanks.
Yes. Beavis and Butthead watch party.
Yeah, I love Beavis.
Oh,
and
maybe.
Butthead.
I do too. I love Beavis and Butthead.
Are any of you guys Gargoyles fans? The
I used to like Gargoyles.
No, I haven't watched it.
Read by Nature
Gargoyles
asks,
pretty
if
good.
Disney okayed Jordan Peele's Gargoyles pitch, would you still want to see Sirtis, Frakes, and Spiner reprise their roles? Of course. Just
Yeah,
voices
why not?
anyway,
Yeah,
right?
Voices, yeah. Captain April, has anyone Googled Tilly's boobies? Not until now.
Not until now.
Blessed boobs. Is this stream getting monetized? Probably not. It seems like every live show we do gets demonetized, and then by the time it gets monetized, it's pointless. Eric just wants to know if we were involved in directing the Dread TV show and was told you had to involve the actors from the original movie. Which roles would they play? Do you mean my movie, Sylvester Stallone? Or do you mean the
You know what? I was gonna bring up something to you. It doesn't look like our the Venom video on the main channel.
Mm-hmm.
Have you noticed? It's actually it doesn't seem to be. Yeah, it's getting some traction, but I mean, it doesn't seem like it's being shared like the other ones.
It got a boost out the gate, and then I did notice today that it slowed down quite a bit. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if the algorithm is kicking in. Something tells me that the YouTube algorithm is, if you get over 1 million views, they immediately cut your recommendations in half or whatever.
Yes.
You never know. It's possible.
Well, actually, that was where all of my stuff was getting demonetized back before I privatized or unlisted a whole lot of stuff when I had over 1 million views on my channel. And now that I've unlisted a whole lot, it's down under 1 million, and I'm actually getting ad revenue again. So you could be onto something. Yeah,
and just to answer that, I definitely want to use. That's the whole thing. Is I think everybody wants to see what's his face come back as Dread. I keep forgetting his name. Bones. What the hell's his name?
Boney.
That guy. I can't remember his name. I can see his face too. Carl Urban.
Oh darn it. Anyway, Carl Urban. Thank you so much.
Troy.
That's who.
Troy Tempest, thank you for the $2.99 Australian super chat. Good morning from Australia.
Oh, it's morning in Australia. Awesome.
It's morning in Australia. The kangaroos are out jumping into the ocean. I don't know. I just made that up.
Eric Draven wants to know if there's any news on the Stan theatrical release, other than I think they're still working on it. I'm not sure. That's not the one no, that's Dark Tower. They were talking about making a series, and I'm not sure if that's still happening or not. We get a few Venom questions. We did cover a lot of that in the beginning. So I don't know if you guys want to go back to that, but
would I like to see a Booster Gold movie? Sure, why not?
And yeah, kind of the short version is, yeah, I think Sony's agenda going forward now that this is a success will be to disconnect Spider-Man from they're not going to make another deal with Disney. They're going to do a Spider-Man 3 on their own and connect that to their own Spideyverse. So, and no, nothing specific about the next Batman movie that we haven't already heard. Another question for that from Comrade Berniford Putin's Axe Wielder. So just the same old. Affleck's up in the air. We have not heard anything new other than it's supposed to still happen. We'll see. Any other good ones out there, Rob?
Manager Doug, you ever heard Your Hunter from the Future? No, that's a movie that should get remake. Your Hunter.
Oh, Your,
yeah,
Your.
Yeah, I know Your Hunter from the Future. Yeah.
It's got potential.
Yeah, might be. Cletus Cassidy, Natural Born Killer. Yeah. Spoiler. It turns out Venom really brings in money for Sony. How come? I think the movie is meh. Well, we don't know how well it's going to hold up the second week, though.
And like we said in the onset of the show here, it's being touted as a Marvel movie, even though it's not technically as an MCU movie anyway. I mean, people are associating Spider-Man with the MCU. They associate Venom with Spider-Man. I also brought up that Venom is one of the more popular villains out there alongside like Joker and stuff like that. So, of course, this movie was going to make some money. Now, did anybody expect it to do 80 million? Hell no. So it'll be interesting to see, like Rob said, where it goes the second weekend. So
I think it's going to fall off a cliff.
It might not. Well, there was a lot of people just going to see it out of curiosity too.
Mm-hmm.
But the general audience
was too.
Yeah, and the general audience was duped into thinking it was an MCU movie. That's where most of the money came from. So,
DB Cooper, thoughts on Better Call Saul? I don't watch it, but people seem to like it.
I haven't seen it. I liked Breaking Bad a lot. I've been kind of waiting for it to finish up so I can marathon it.
I keep being told I should watch it, but that's my problem is when anything gets so built up, I try to avoid it because like I know it's not going to live up to everybody's hype.
Hyper Show. The only 80s show that has been rebooted is Airwolf. Give it time. Give it time.
If Top Gun 2's a hit, yeah.
Yeah, J. Michael Vincent. I need a J. Michael Vincent in Sector G. I need a J. Michael Vincent in Sector C. This January, double down your Michael Vincent. Yeah, do you watch Rick and Morty, Random?
No, I was just thinking, like, where would you bring in David Soul then?
I don't know.
No.
Don't give up on us, baby. Oh, hold on.
Richard Busatil. I'm trying to say that. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it your videos are being suppressed for criticizing current flops? I don't want to really get into that too much. We're not allowed to really speculate on that stuff too much, or at least talk about it too much.
Well, you can't really speculate anyway. I mean, you never know. You might just have a hater flag you. You might just have,
right.
It might just be random chance too. You might have said one word that the bot picked up and.
Route 66 wants to know is it true Venom made back its budget? Most of it. I think it cost a little bit more than that.
I don't think they did a lot.
It cost like 200 million, didn't it?
I don't think it was that high, but didn't they not even market it that much? I haven't seen like the massive merchandising like Solo.
They hit it hard the last 2 weeks here.
Mm-hmm.
With the thing is the first weekend, yes, the studios get a big chunk of that. The overseas, that's a different story. It all depends on what deal they have in what regions. I think the way they're looking at it is, yes, it's very, very much a possibility or most likely that it has about or will recoup it's money for sure. But that's the problem, is how much longer can these movies sustain like this? How much longer can you spend $200 million on a movie like this that's a huge gamble? I mean, Venom was a huge gamble in a lot of ways. It paid off in spades for Sony once again, but it could have went way south way fast and nobody could have seen it, and it could have been a big $200 million turd that didn't make shit at the box office. So they got lucky.
Yeah, they did. What are we talking about? I had to check out for a second.
Venom Sony turd thing.
Venom Sony turd. Sony turd Venom. Venom turd.
They got lucky.
Yeah. Ven turd.
Darkslayer, we are kind of on the consistent schedule. This is kind of our normal time. We start around 4.
Yes.
Well, we're trying
5.
to move up a little bit earlier, but when we can, so we'll see how this works out. But we had a lot more viewers, it seemed like, earlier on. It's getting a little later now, but we're going to probably wrap this up shortly here. But trying to get through some of your guys' questions real quick. But hey, it's about that time, and it's almost 7:30. I know some people are probably going to be going on their own streams here pretty soon, so we don't want to step too much on them. But yeah. Was there anything else you guys had to say tonight before we close this out? Or?
Well, RT says, do you think Kraven the Hunter, Silver Sable, Morbius, and Black? What do you think? Yes, we will see a Kraven. Yes, at some point we will see. If not some of those, all of those.
Yeah, Sony's going to go full bore forward with their own Spideyverse.
And if this Into the Spider-Verse does well, then all bets are off. As they say.
Well, it pretty much already is. I can tell you right now, there's very little chance, if they haven't already extended their contract with Disney, or should we say Marvel, then it's not going to happen now. Not after this. Not a chance in hell. So they think they're going to be back. And like Rob said, the Spider-Man cartoon is going to do fine. It's Spider-Man. It's a cartoon. It's Christmas. It's going to get a lot of kids' business. So it's going to do just fine.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right, that's all I've got.
Well, I guess the final thought would be press F for boobs, but
we had a bunch of those earlier already.
Boobies. Someone say boobies.
There's always room for boobs.
I've always liked them when they're called breasticles.
Chesticles?
I enjoy the term fun bags.
Fun bags.
Yes, fun bags, because you're always having fun with them.
That's true.
Unless you have them strapped to you and you have to like run or do anything. But
my word. I've seen those ladies with the large implants, and they tried to run, their face gets flapped to death.
Yeah, you get concussion and they'll slap you in the face.
It's like slap, slap, slap. It's like trying to fight. It's like trying to fight Jean-Claude Van Damme with those things.
No, somebody who's Dark Slayer says he wants to see my tits. We don't need that to happen. We'll get the channel shut down. Mine are probably bigger than Random's.
Yes, you have a pair of man boobies. A pair of movies.
I do. All right, boys and girls. I think that's about it. I'm the meds are kicking in. I'm really starting to get groggy and everything's slowing down. No. I think the people have just had enough of us. We've stretched this video out way longer than we should have. We love you guys too out there in the chat. You guys listening and watching us. We love you. You're the reason we do this and why we can keep doing this, and we appreciate everything you do for us, not just the super chats, but the likes and the subscribes and the shares and all that kind of stuff really means a lot. So thank you so much for those. And do check out Mecha Random's channel, of course, and Robot Shlomo has his own channel as well, so do check those out.
And what the hell, I'm going to go live tonight in a little bit here for you guys, so because it's fun. I love going live for you guys.
So get ready to head on over to Random's channel, and I'm sure Nerdrotic's got some things planned too later on. So check those guys out as well.
I think Gary's actually on right now.
Oh,
yeah, they're doing a Farscape season 1 review.
Okay. Well, head on over there if you're a Farscape fan, and then check out Random live too. So, anything else you guys have to add? And other than that, go ahead and take us out, Rob.
Boobies. That's all I have to add.
Yeah, both of them.
Random, what do you have to add?
Press F for boobs.
And if you like boobies, and if you like our channel, boobies if you like boobies or fun bags or anything of the sort. And you like it now.
Who doesn't like boobies?
And click subscribe, click the bell icon.
If you're not attracted to them and you don't already have them, then you want them. So
Bat dong, Adam Shawhan says.
So big that they get in your face. Flap, 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 flap.
okay,
Bat
that's enough.
dogs.
That's enough. That's enough boob talk.
Click subscribe, click the bell icon. Go over to the main channel, click subscribe, click the bell icon over there. You get, and if you are so inclined, you like what we do, head on over to Patreon. You get all kinds of bonuses, early notification of mini documentaries, early cracks at videos. You got the Trek Log video, the animation early for our Patreon members. Lost episodes, outtakes, bloopers, behind the edge, making of videos. See the story of how Midnight's Edge came to be. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. See, the idea was to say, yeah, I'd give those guys $1. The idea was literally to say, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah. We got some stuff coming for you guys there, I promise. I know we've been a little quiet. I've been trying to do some updates and stuff, but we got some fun stuff planned.
Yes, head over to and Mecha Random. What about your channel?
My channel is Mecha Random42. You can click my name over in the chat. And yeah, I also have a Patreon. We had a lot of fun with the Patreon hangout where these guys, Rob and Tom, came by and we played some songs and sang for you guys and had a absolute blast. So
We had a hootenanny.
yeah, band practice. You guys got to be there for the band
my
practice.
nanny?
You hooted his nanny.
Ah,
He hooted his nanny.
take a load off, Annie.
Take a load off me.
That's Fanny.
Fanny? Okay.
Yeah, you
I
know
like
you know what that's
Fannies.
British for.
Yes, I do. But I'm French.
Number one, if I said Commander Wolf's head looks like a fanny, would you join me in a laugh? Hey everyone, Commander Wolf's head looks like a fanny.
Okay, we're losing the audience,
Okay.
guys. Thank you so much and take care once again.
Thanks, guys. Like I said, like, subscribe, share with your friends. Check out Captain Robert April's channel. Check out Gary at Nerdrotic. He's on right now. Check out Mecha Random. Check out Overlord Dictor Van Doomcock. Check out everybody's channel. If we're forgetting you, don't feel bad, because
We're old and senile.
yes, we're old and senile. More Picard.
Speak for yourself.
More Picard on the After Dark live streams. Yes,
I'm both.
for myself, for Random Game User, for Doomcock, for everybody, for old Picard and not so old Picard,
Don't you dare speak for me.
for Troy's
I can
boobies.
speak for myself, young man.
Everybody, we will.
You're waiting for me to fucking die.
Yes, we are. That way we don't have to pay you. See you later. We'll catch you next time.